I can't believe you actually did this, Clara whispered, her eyes shimmering under the soft candlelight. I smiled, feeling my chest tighten. You deserve more than just a ring, Clara. You deserve a night you'll remember forever. She laughed quietly, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. You always say the perfect things. Maybe because they're true. I slid the velvet box toward her across the small table. Go on, open it. Her breath caught when she saw the diamond glinting in the light. For a moment she said nothing, just stared, hands trembling. Ethan... Her voice cracked. You're serious? Dead serious. My heart pounded. Clara Hayes, will you marry me? Tears welled in her eyes as she covered her mouth. Yes. Of course, yes. The world blurred for a second. I stood, wrapping her in my arms, feeling her heartbeat against mine. The restaurant around us clapped softly, but all I could hear was her whispering my name. I didn't think anyone could love me like this, she murmured. Then you've been around the wrong people, I said, because I plan to prove it every day. She pulled back, her hands cupping my face. Promise me something? Anything. No matter what happens, no secrets. No lies, just us. Always. I meant it. Every word felt carved into my soul. She smiled then. One of those genuine smiles that made you forget the rest of the world existed. You have no idea how much I needed to hear that. I think I do. Our waiter arrived with champagne, and Ryan's voice broke the moment. Finally. Man, I thought you'd never ask her, Clara laughed, wiping her tears. You were in on this? Ryan grinned, clinking his glass with mine. He made me keep it quiet for weeks. Torture, by the way. Worth it, I said. You should have seen her face. I'm still shaking, Clara said, holding out her hand to watch the ring sparkle. It's perfect. It's not the ring that's perfect, I said softly. It's you, she blushed, leaning closer. You're dangerously good with words, Mr. Reed. Architects build dreams, Ryan teased. He's just doing it with sentences now. Clara chuckled, then turned serious. You really think this will last forever? I looked straight into her eyes. I don't think, Clara. I know. Her smile faltered for a heartbeat, just long enough for me to notice, but then she squeezed my hand and whispered, Then forever it is. We toasted, the glasses chiming softly. She leaned her head on my shoulder as the night grew quieter, the candles flickering between us. I'm the luckiest man alive, I whispered. And I'm the happiest woman in the world, she replied. If only I'd known how fragile those words would become. If only I'd known that every promise made tonight would one day echo like a warning I failed to hear. Hey, you ever notice how Clara dodges questions about her family? Ryan asked one night as we locked up the office. I frowned, grabbing my jacket. She's private, that's all. Not everyone brags about their relatives, he shrugged. Maybe. But I overheard a guy at the bar mention a Clara Hayes, same last name, something about Hayes Industries. You know that company's been on the news for fraud, right? My stomach tightened. Hayes Industries? You're sure? Pretty sure. Could be a coincidence, though. He smirked. Still, you should ask her. Better safe than sorry, man. That thought stayed with me like a splinter. Later that night, as Clara curled up beside me on the couch, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Clara, I said quietly, you've never told me much about your family. Why's that? She froze for half a second before smiling. Because there's nothing to tell. My parents live abroad. We're not close, I studied her face. What about Hayes Industries? Any connection? Her laughter came too fast. No, of course not. What makes you ask? I just heard something at work. Same surname, same city. Thought I'd check. She rolled her eyes. Ethan, not every Hayes is part of that mess. Come on, stop worrying. Her tone was light, but her hands fidgeted with the hem of her dress. I wanted to push, but I didn't want to ruin the night. All right, I said finally. I just wanted the truth. You always have it, she whispered, kissing my cheek. But something in her voice didn't match the softness of her touch. The next morning at work, Lily leaned over my desk. Rough night? I looked up from the screen. You could say that. She seemed tense when she came by yesterday, Lily said, lowering her voice. She was asking about the city contracts. Does she work in construction too? No, I said slowly. Why? Just curious. She asked if your firm was bidding on the municipal project. That's sensitive info, isn't it? A chill crawled up my spine. She probably just wanted to make conversation. Sure, Lily replied, though her eyes said she didn't believe it. That afternoon, while waiting for a client meeting, I scrolled through the news. The headline hit me like a blow. Hayes Industries under investigation for embezzlement, and there it was, a family photo. Her smile, her eyes. Clara standing right beside the CEO. My breath caught. I stared at the screen, trying to convince myself it was someone else. But I knew that smile better than my own reflection. When she called that evening, her voice was soft. Hey, you okay? You sound distant. I saw something online, I said slowly.
An article about Hayes Industries.
You were in the photo. Silence. Then, that was a long time ago. I told you I'm not part of their world anymore. Why didn't you tell me? Because it doesn't matter, Ethan. Her voice cracked. I didn't want you to see me like them. I wanted to believe her, but my gut twisted. Clara, everyone has a past. But lying about it? I didn't lie, she interrupted. I just left it behind. Her words were calm, but the way she hung up said otherwise. And for the first time since I met her, I realized I didn't know who I'd fallen in love with. The hall shimmered with golden lights, laughter, and the faint hum of a string quartet. Everyone looked perfect, except Clara. You okay? I asked, touching her hand. She forced a smile. Of course. Just overwhelmed. You've been staring at the door since we got here. Habit, she said, lifting her glass. I keep expecting someone to walk in. Before I could respond, my mother appeared, elegant as ever. Clara, darling, she said warmly, you look stunning. I can see why my son's been smiling like an idiot all week. Clara laughed lightly. You're too kind, Mrs. Reed. Please call me Martha. My mother's eyes softened as she looked at me. You chose well, Ethan. Thank you, Mom. As Martha moved to greet other guests, Clara exhaled. She's intimidating, I chuckled. She's harmless. Trust me, you already won her over. But Clara's eyes darted across the room again. Ethan, who invited that man near the bar? The one in the navy suit. I turned. No idea. Why? She looked pale. I think I know him. Excuse me for a moment. Before I could stop her, she crossed the room. I followed a few seconds later, pretending to mingle. The man turned as she approached, mid-30s, sharp jawline, eyes too similar to hers. He leaned in close. I caught his whisper. You shouldn't be here. Clara stiffened. Leave before someone sees you, she hissed. I warned you this would happen, he murmured. You think you can outrun the family? Her voice trembled. Please, Daniel, not tonight. My heart sank. Daniel? She noticed me approaching and instantly changed her tone. Oh, Ethan! This is Mr. Bennett, an old family friend. The man extended his hand with a thin smile. Pleasure, Mr. Reed. Likewise, I said slowly, gripping his hand harder than necessary. Didn't realize Clara's family had such close friends. Old stories, he said smoothly. Congratulations to you both. When he left, Clara's hands were shaking. He shouldn't have come. Who is he, really? I told you, a family friend. Clara, I stared at her. Don't lie to me, she swallowed hard, looking around to ensure no one was watching. It's complicated. Can we not do this here? Fine, later, I said, trying to mask my irritation. Just don't disappear again. The rest of the night blurred into polite laughter and fake smiles. Ryan cracked jokes by the dessert table. Martha gave a toast about trust and lasting love, and Clara barely spoke a word. When the guests finally left, I found her sitting on the balcony, tears streaking her face. Talk to me, I said gently. She looked up, eyes red. It's family drama, that's all. I didn't want to ruin tonight. Who was that man, Clara? I told you, it's nothing. She wiped her cheeks. Please, can we just forget it? I hesitated, then nodded. All right, but you need to start being honest with me. I will, she whispered. I promise, I believed her. God help me, I believed her again. The morning after the party, my phone buzzed before sunrise. A message glared across the screen. Ask her who her father really is. No name. No number I recognized. Just that one line. I sat up, heart pounding. Clara was still asleep beside me, her hair spilling across the pillow. I stared at her, wondering if I was losing my mind. When she stirred, I forced a calm voice. Clara, did you give anyone our number? Her eyes blinked open, drowsy. What? No, why? Nothing. Just a weird message, she frowned. Spam, probably. Yeah, probably. But my hands were already trembling as I typed Hayes Industries into the search bar. The first article that popped up made my blood run cold. CEO of Hayes Industries under investigation for fraud and tax evasion. A photo followed, a smiling man in an expensive suit. And behind him, half hidden, stood Clara. My throat went dry. Same last name. Same smile, same woman I was about to marry. She walked into the kitchen moments later, humming. Coffee? Sure, I muttered, staring at the photo on my screen. She handed me the cup, then paused. What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. Clara, I said slowly, I have to ask you something, and I need the truth, her brows furrowed. You're scaring me. What is it? Who is Mr. Hayes? She froze. Why are you asking me that? Because, I said, turning the phone toward her, you're standing right behind him in this picture. She went pale. That's an old photo. Old or not, you told me you weren't connected to Hayes Industries. I'm not, she said quickly. Ethan, please, it's not what you think. Then tell me what it is, I pressed. Because right now it looks like you've been lying to me since the day we met. She gripped the counter, eyes glistening. He's my father, but I don't have anything to do with him anymore. I swear, your father? My voice cracked. You said your parents lived abroad. I couldn't tell you, she whispered. You wouldn't understand. Try me. He's done terrible things, she said, her voice trembling. I didn't want his name to ruin what we have. I just wanted to start over, with you. I stared at her, torn between anger and disbelief. So you lied to protect me? Or to protect yourself? I was protecting us, she said. You would have walked away if you knew. Maybe, I admitted. But at least it would have been my choice. She reached for my hand, but I pulled back. Ethan, please, don't let him come between us. It's not him, I said coldly. It's the lies. Tears slid down her cheeks. I'm still the same person you fell in love with. I wanted to believe that. God, I did. But all I could see now was the daughter of a man built on deception, standing in my kitchen, pretending she was different. I waited for her to come home. Every minute stretched longer than the last. When the door finally opened, she froze. My expression must have told her everything. Ethan, she said softly, setting her purse down. You read more, didn't you? Enough, I replied. Enough to realize I don't know who I've been living with. She shut the door behind her. Please don't look at me like that. Like what? I asked bitterly. Like you're a stranger? She walked toward me, hands trembling. I didn't want you to see me as one of them. I stared at her. One of them? You mean your family, the ones who built empires on fraud? She flinched. Don't say it like that. How else am I supposed to say it? I snapped. You lied about your name, your father, your past, everything. Her voice cracked. I wasn't lying, I was protecting myself. From what? I demanded. The truth? She clenched her fists, eyes glistening. From people like him. From that world. I left it behind, Ethan. You have to believe me. I laughed, sharp, humorless. You left it behind? Then why were you hiding it? Why were you at events he sponsored under a fake name? Her face went pale. You've been digging. Because you gave me no choice, I said. You built our relationship on half-truths and silence. She moved closer, voice trembling. Ethan, I didn't want to lose you. The moment people hear the name Hayes, they look at me differently. I just wanted to be seen as me. I looked at her, really looked, and for a moment I saw the woman I fell in love with. The one who laughed easily, who stayed up late listening to my wild ideas. But behind that softness, there was something else now, fear. What are you so afraid of? I asked quietly. Her lips quivered. Them finding me. Them using you. My father doesn't let go of things. She stopped, shaking her head. I just needed time before you knew. So instead you lied, I said. I had to. She cried. You wouldn't have understood. You'd have walked away. Maybe I would have, I said, my voice low. But at least you wouldn't have to see this version of me, angry, suspicious, tired. She took a step forward. Please, don't let my past destroy us. I turned toward the hallway. Her suitcase sat there, half-zipped, her clothes folded inside. Her eyes widened. You packed my things? I couldn't sleep knowing you're still lying to me, I said. I need time, space, she grabbed my arm. Ethan, you're throwing away love over a name. Over something I can't change. Maybe I am, I said quietly. But love built on lies isn't love at all. She covered her mouth, sobbing. You said you'd never give up on me. I meant it, I whispered. Until you made it impossible. Her scream echoed as I opened the door. You'll regret this. You'll see I was trying to protect you. I paused, looking back one last time. Maybe. But right now, all I see is someone I can't trust. And with that, I stepped outside, closing the door on everything I thought was real. The headlines wouldn't stop.
Hayes Industries under fire for fraud. Every morning, it felt like her name followed me, burning through every coffee shop, every office whisper. Ryan leaned against my desk one afternoon.
You've seen the news? I try not to, I said, staring at blueprints that refused to make sense. He frowned. They're saying her father's assets are frozen. Her brother's missing. It's bad, Ethan. I know. My voice came out flat. Everyone keeps reminding me, he hesitated. You still love her, don't you? I didn't answer. The silence said enough, he sighed. Just be careful. When smoke starts rising, it's hard to tell where the fire really started. After he left, I sat there, staring at my reflection in the glass wall. My face looked tired, older. I'd built my career on structure and honesty. Now all I saw were cracks. That night, my mother called. You haven't been home in weeks. I've been busy, I said. Busy avoiding the truth, she replied. I saw the news, Ethan. That girl brought trouble with her. She's not her father, I muttered. Then why did she lie? She asked calmly. I didn't have an answer. She continued. Some people wear masks so long they forget their real face. Be careful which one you fall for. I hung up, but her words lingered. Later, as I left the office, a thin fog clung to the street. My footsteps echoed lonely and hollow. I passed a newspaper stand. The front page showed Clara's photo. Her eyes were red, her expression unreadable. I whispered to no one, What happened to you, Clara? Lily caught me staring at the paper the next morning. Still thinking about her? Trying not to, I said. She came by last week, Lily said hesitantly. Asked if you were okay? I froze. She what? She didn't stay long. Said she wanted to explain, but she looked scared. Scared of what? Lily shook her head. Of herself, maybe. Or whoever's following her story now. I swallowed hard. If she wanted to talk, she knows where to find me. But when I got home that night, there was nothing. No messages, no calls. Just quiet. I stared at the engagement ring I still hadn't returned to the jeweler. It sat on my desk, catching the glow of the desk lamp. I picked it up, turning it between my fingers. You made me believe in forever, I whispered. Outside, sirens wailed faintly, fading into the city hum. Smoke from a nearby restaurant drifted past my window, curling like ghosts of words left unsaid. I closed my eyes, trying to picture her smile, the one before everything fell apart. But all I saw was her walking away through the fog, her voice echoing, You'll regret this. Maybe I already did. It was late, past 9, when the elevator doors slid open. The storm outside hammered against the glass walls of my office. I didn't look up at first, assuming it was Ryan or the janitor. Then I heard her voice. Ethan! My head snapped up. Clara stood in the doorway, drenched, trembling, her hair plastered to her face. Please, she whispered. Don't throw me out. I froze. You shouldn't be here. I didn't know where else to go, she said, her voice breaking. Please, just hear me out. I gestured toward the chair across from my desk. Sit, she hesitated before sinking down, clutching her soaked coat. Water pooled on the floor beneath her. Say what you came to say, I said quietly. Her hands trembled. You were right, my father, he used us. I felt my stomach twist. Used us how? She took a shaky breath. He wanted access to your firm's contracts. Said our engagement would make it easy to influence decisions, get inside connections. My voice was cold. So I was leverage. Tears filled her eyes. At first, yes. But I never wanted to hurt you, Ethan. I told him no. I told him I wouldn't be part of it. Then why didn't you tell me sooner? Because he threatened me, she said, gripping the edge of the desk. He said if I betrayed him, he'd ruin you too. He's not just a businessman anymore. He's desperate, dangerous. I leaned back, trying to process. And now what? You show up here expecting me to forgive you because you finally decided to confess? She flinched. No, I came because I have nowhere else to go. Daniel's watching me. Daniel? My brother, she whispered. He's been helping my father cover the crimes. But now they're fighting. He said if I don't do what he says, he'll make sure everyone believes I was in on it. Were you? I asked before I could stop myself, her eyes filled with pain. Do you really think I could use you like that? I looked away. I don't know what to think anymore. She stood suddenly, slamming her palms on the desk. Everything I felt for you was real. I tried to protect you, don't you get it? I rose too, my voice low but steady. Protect me by lying to me? By letting me propose, knowing it was all built on deceit? She shook her head violently. It wasn't deceit, it was survival. For a long moment, the only sound was the rain hitting the glass. Then she whispered, He's going to come after you. My father, Daniel. They blame you for the investigation. They think you tipped off the authorities. I stared at her. Did you? Her silence was answer enough. Finally, I said, You should leave. Before they find you here. She stepped closer, tears cutting through her smeared makeup. You still love me. I can see it. I wanted to deny it, but my throat locked. She reached out, her fingers brushing mine. Please, Ethan, just one more chance. I pulled away. Love doesn't survive on chances. It survives on truth. Her breath hitched. Then I guess we're already dead. When she walked out, the storm followed her, leaving only silence and the faint scent of rain that refused to fade. I met Daniel at a quiet bar downtown, the kind of place where shadows spoke louder than people. He was already there, sitting in the corner, drink in hand, that same haze arrogance in his smirk. Ethan Reed, he said as I approached. Finally decided to stop hiding behind morals? I sat across from him. You wanted to talk. So talk, he leaned forward, his voice low. Let's make this simple. You sign over the project rights, your downtown development, and in return, Clara's name stays out of the investigation. I laughed, cold and short. You think I'd sell my work to protect someone who's been lying to me? He swirled his drink, eyes glinting. You still care about her. Don't deny it. I care about the truth, I said. Something your family seems allergic to, he chuckled. Truth? You really believe she told you everything? You poor fool, I clenched my jaw. You said you had proof. Let's see it. He pulled out his phone, scrolling casually before sliding it across the table. Read them. The screen glowed with messages, Clara's name at the top. I'll convince him to share the blueprints. He trusts me completely. Once he signs were clear, my throat went dry. These could be fake, Daniel smiled lazily. Oh, they're very real. She used her own number. Check the timestamps, I did. The dates matched perfectly, with the weeks she'd been most affectionate, most convincing. He leaned back. My sister's talented. She almost made me believe she cared about you. Almost. I set the phone down slowly. Why show me this? Because you're in the way. My father wants your project. You're holding the key to millions. I'm giving you a chance to walk away with your dignity. I stared at him. And if I don't? His smile sharpened. Then I make sure the world believes you and Clara work together. Your firm collapses, your name burns, and she'll still end up ruined. I exhaled, forcing calm. You're threatening the wrong man, he shrugged. You're angry, I get it. But anger doesn't beat power. My family owns this city's headlines. You'll be forgotten before the next edition prints. I stood up, pushing the chair back. You've mistaken me for someone who plays by your rules. He tilted his head. So that's a no? That's a never, he smirked. You'll regret that, Ethan. You think she's innocent?
She's been lying since day one.
Don't take my word for it. Ask her about the offshore account. I froze for just a second. He saw it. There it is, he whispered, delighted. That flicker of doubt, keep it. It'll eat you alive. I turned away. I'm done letting your family feed on me. Walk away, Reed, he called after me. Before I make you crawl. Outside, the air was thick with smoke from the rain-soaked streets. My reflection in the window looked nothing like the man who once believed in love and honesty. Something inside me cracked open. I wasn't going to be their victim anymore. I didn't sleep for days. Every minute was spent digging, emails, bank transfers, legal drafts, anything that tied Hayes Industries to their shell companies. The deeper I went, the uglier it got. When I finally called Lily, my voice was steady. I need your help. Off the record, she hesitated. Ethan, this sounds dangerous. It is, I said. But it's also necessary, a pause. You're talking about the Hayes family, aren't you? Yes, and I'm done being their pawn, she sighed. Then you'll need evidence that can't be buried. I know someone, a journalist who won't back down. That's how I met Julia Park, the kind of reporter who saw truth as a weapon. We met at a cafe far from downtown. She set down her recorder. You understand, once I publish this, there's no turning back. They'll come after you, too. I'm counting on it, I said. She studied me for a moment. You don't look like a man chasing revenge. You look like someone trying to bury regret. Maybe both, I admitted. Over the next week, we worked in silence. Files, recordings, timestamps. My office turned into a war room. Every document I uncovered felt like a piece of the world collapsing in my hands. When the story broke, it hit like wildfire. Hayes Industries exposed. Decade of fraud and corporate deception. The anchor's voice echoed through my apartment. Pictures of Mr. Hayes, Daniel, and the company's board filled the screen. Then, Clara. Her image froze mid-tier, microphone trembling in her hand. I didn't know, she said on live TV. I trusted my family, and they used me. I'm as much a victim as anyone else, Ryan called immediately. You did this, didn't you? I just showed the world what was already there, I replied. Man, she's crying on national television. You sure this is what you wanted? I didn't answer. Watching her, eyes red, voice shaking, I felt something twist inside me. Julia texted. They're finished. You did it, but the victory felt hollow. Later that night, my mother called. You've made enemies, Ethan, powerful ones. I've also made peace, I said quietly. With yourself? She asked. I hesitated. I'm not sure yet. Outside, the city lights flickered against the glass. Clara's voice still echoed in my head. I'm as much a victim as anyone else. Maybe she was telling the truth. Maybe she wasn't. Either way, her world was burning, and I'd lit the match. Ryan texted again. You okay? I stared at the screen before typing back, I don't know. For the first time, I wasn't sure who the real betrayer was, her or me, because when the smoke cleared, the man in the mirror didn't look like the one who once believed in love. He looked like someone who'd learned to survive. It was almost midnight when I heard the knock. Slow. Hesitant. I opened the door, and there she was. Clara. No makeup, no designer coat, just red eyes and trembling hands. Ethan. Her voice cracked. Please don't shut the door, I stood frozen. You shouldn't be here. I didn't know where else to go, she whispered. Please, just let me explain. I stepped aside. 5 minutes. She walked in, dripping from the rain, her breaths uneven. I didn't know how to tell you, she said. Everything I did. It started as survival. I crossed my arms. Survival doesn't involve lying to the person who loves you. Her tears spilled faster. You don't understand what it's like being a Hayes. Every choice is a threat. Every word is watched. I tried to break away, but my father, he always found me. Then you used me, I said quietly. Because I was your escape route. No, she protested. You were the only thing that felt real. I thought if I could just hold on to you, maybe I could have a life that wasn't built on lies. I shook my head. You held on to me while you burned everything else down. She took a step closer, voice shaking. I never meant for you to get hurt. Yet here we are, I said. My firm dragged through the mud, my name tied to your family's crimes. She dropped to her knees suddenly, sobbing. Please, Ethan, I've lost everything, my family, my home, my future. Don't make me lose you too. I felt something inside me twist. Once that sound, her crying would have broken me. Now it just echoed in the hollow space she'd left behind. I don't hate you, I said softly, but I can't love you anymore. Her head snapped up. You don't mean that? I do, I said. I meant every word when I asked you to marry me, when I trusted you. But love built on lies doesn't survive. It rots. She reached for my hand. I'll fix it. I'll tell the police everything. I'll testify against my father, my brother, whatever it takes. I pulled my hand back. You'll do that because it's right, not because you want me back. Her voice broke into a whisper. And after that? After I tell the truth? I looked away. Then you'll be free. She stood slowly, her face pale. But not with you. I met her eyes. No, never with me again. The silence that followed felt heavier than her lies ever did. She turned to leave, pausing at the door. I did love you, Ethan, she said. That part was real, I nodded once. Maybe, but real love doesn't come with conditions. When the door closed behind her, I felt the final thread between us snap. Outside, the rain kept falling, but for the first time, it sounded like peace. The news came early. My phone buzzed incessantly. Alerts, headlines, messages from colleagues. Hayes Industries collapses. CEO and board arrested. I poured coffee, listening, letting it sink in. Daniel and Mr. Hayes were behind bars. The empire of lies finally crumbled. Ryan called immediately. Did you see this? I did, I said, keeping my voice steady. They're finished. You okay? I will be. I turned on the TV later that day. Clara was testifying. No makeup, no pretenses, just words. She spoke clearly, recounting the manipulations, the threats, the family schemes. I didn't expect to feel anything, but a strange sensation welled up. Pride. She was finally facing the truth. She didn't need me to forgive her, didn't need me in the courtroom. She was standing alone, owning her part, exposing her father and brother. Ryan texted. Are you watching? I didn't respond. I kept watching. Did you make a deal? I whispered to the empty room. No, she said, as if hearing me. I'm doing this for myself. Her voice broke once, and I flinched. Not because I doubted her, but because it sounded like the Clara I had once loved. The prosecutor asked a pointed question. Did you know your family was committing fraud? Yes, she replied firmly, but I refused to participate. I tried to warn those who were vulnerable, and I've come forward to ensure justice is served. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the screen. She had done it. She had stepped out of the shadows of her family, faced them, and taken responsibility. Redemption, huh? I muttered. Ryan's message popped up again. Pride or regret? I didn't reply. I wasn't sure. Part of me still ached for what could have been, for the trust that was destroyed. But I also felt relief. The manipulation, the fear, the lies, they were gone. Clara finished her testimony, leaving the courtroom with a composed, if tired, expression. She had survived the storm, standing as herself, not as a Hayes puppet. I didn't attend the sentencing. I didn't need to see the final gavel. I had already closed that chapter of my life, the one filled with betrayal, lies, and heartbreak. Instead, I walked along the river that night, lights reflecting off the water, breathing in the cold, steady air. The city felt quieter somehow, lighter, as if the weight of the Hayes Empire had lifted off my shoulders. I whispered into the wind, You did the right thing, Clara. Even if it wasn't with me. The echoes of the past lingered, but the future was mine again. For the first time in months, I felt something approaching peace, and I realized some victories weren't about winning people, they were about reclaiming yourself. The letter arrived on a quiet afternoon, slipped under my door like a secret I didn't want. I hesitated before picking it up, recognizing her handwriting immediately. I unfolded the paper. Her words were simple, direct. You were the only honest part of my life. I'm sorry for everything I've done. I hope you can live without the shadow of my family. I set the letter on my desk, staring at the lines as if they could change meaning if I looked long enough. A part of me wanted to reply, to write back and tell her I forgave her, even if I could never love her again. But another part, the part that had survived betrayal, manipulation, and lies, knew silence was the only honest answer. I muttered aloud, You were never mine to keep. I folded the letter carefully, pressing it flat before placing it in my drawer. Closed. Done. Ryan called that evening. You still thinking about her? I glanced out the window, the city bathed in twilight. Sometimes, I admitted. But thinking isn't the same as needing. He was quiet for a moment. You okay with that? Just letting go? I shrugged. It's not about being okay. It's about recognizing the truth. Some love isn't meant to last. Some forgiveness isn't meant to reunite, Lily texted later. Saw the news, your project's booming. Feeling better? I typed back slowly. I am. Finally. The room grew quiet, filled only with the hum of the city outside. I leaned back, listening to the soft rhythm of life continuing around me. I thought about Clara, about the chaos, the heartbreak, the confessions, the lies, and for the first time in months I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel sorrow. I felt peace, a quiet acknowledgement that some chapters close not with fireworks, not with shouting or tears, but with silence. I whispered to myself, "You taught me honesty, even when it was too late." I opened my drawer briefly, looking at the folded letter once more. Then I shut it as if sealing the past entirely. Outside, the sun dipped lower, casting a warm glow across the skyline. I realized that forgiveness isn't always a callback. It isn't always an embrace. Sometimes it's letting go and walking forward alone. I turned from the window, ready to move on, knowing the weight of the past no longer had power over me. And in that silence, I found closure. I stepped into the boardroom, the same polished table, the same leather chairs where Mr. Hayes once dictated fear and obedience. Only now, the nameplate read Ethan Reed. Ryan nudged me, grinning. "Feels different being on this side, huh?" I smiled faintly. "Calm. Surprisingly calm," he raised an eyebrow. "After everything, you're calm?" "I've learned something," I said, looking around the room. "Power isn't about control. It's about truth. And the truth always wins." The secretary knocked and entered with the latest reports. I barely glanced at them. My mind wasn't on profits or projects. It was on the lesson I'd earned. Clara's name crossed my mind. She was abroad now, starting over, untangling herself from the web her family had spun. Maybe she'll find peace, I thought. Maybe she deserves it. Ryan leaned against the wall. "Don't tell me you're softening. You were ruthless when you needed to be." I chuckled. "Ruthless? Maybe strategic? Definitely, but calm." "That's the new power," he shook his head. "You sound like a different man." "I am," I admitted. "The man who believed love could conquer all. He's gone. The man who trusts in truth that one stays." The phone buzzed. An email from our legal team. "All contracts secured, all liabilities cleared. The final pieces of Hayes Industries' collapse officially ours." I read it silently, feeling a quiet satisfaction. Not joy, not revenge, just certainty. Ryan grinned. "So what's next? Global domination?" I leaned back, hands folded, considering. "Next is stability. No chaos, no lies, no shadows. Just clean work, honest dealings," he laughed. "Sounds boring." "Boring is better than fear," I replied. I looked out the window at the skyline, the city alive below me, unaware of the battles fought and won above. Truth is the most powerful weapon, I reminded myself. The room was silent except for the hum of the air conditioning. I felt no anger, no longing, only clarity. Clara had her life. I had mine. I turned back to the table, tracing my finger along its edge. "This time," I whispered to no one, "I hold all the cards." Ryan smirked. "Well, deal them wisely, boss." I nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility, the calm of victory. Everything was in place, the past was settled, the present was mine, and the future. The future was unwritten, and for the first time in a long while I wasn't afraid of it.